Welcome to PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. I'm joined today by my good friend, Ensign Vin Forte.
Yeah, there we go, because we're doing Star Trek, baby.
We're back in the bad one.
Yeah, oh boy. Not only the bad one, the one directed by Patrick Stewart, I wish, William Shatner.
Yeah, because...
he was like, well, Leonard got to do one.
So I get to do one, and his is bad.
It's got some things in it that I do like, but overall, like, yeah, it's bad. Like,
yeah, I think it's
starts out with William Shatner like climbing a mountain.
Yeah, we'll get into minutia of all that. It's a lot. It's easy to make fun of. It's not. It's actually middling. Like, it's not. There's a lot of mistakes in it for sure. There's a lot of things that's like, oh, that was a bad choice. Some of its slapstick comedy is just too much.
Yeah, there's horror. There's a fan dance.
That's just so degrading.
Yeah.
To her, to us, the audience, to everyone involved. That's just so degrading. Yeah, there's a lot of missteps, but also the story's a little boring. The plot's a little pointless.
It feels kind of like...
It's a short movie, but yet feels long.
It's almost like a side movie.
It's like a filler episode, but it's a movie. It's a major motion picture.
Yeah, I think the way I described it to you is like, if for anyone familiar with Dragon Ball Z, I guess they do this with other anime as well, because you said they do with My Hero Academia, where there'll be the TV series, but then like they'll do these movies that are like non-canon.
Yeah.
Where they'll, like with Dragon Ball Z, they'll introduce like people who've been there the whole time, but you haven't seen them, but then they show up in this one movie.
Right.
And this is
then they'll conveniently like die at the end, so we don't have to talk about them ever again.
Exactly. So we don't have to ever talk about them ever again. And like this is that, because the whole movie's about Spock's half brother Cybok.
Right, and because of the failure of this movie, they really never mention him anymore. He's kind of decanonized.
Well, except for Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
They mentioned him at the end of an episode when they were at like this Vulcan prison.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you know, who was, because they kept like tiptoeing around like this prisoner the whole episode. And at the end, it's like, oh, who is this prisoner? It's like, oh, he's my brother.
I don't remember that. What episode was that?
Season 1 or season 1?
Gosh, I don't remember it.
Where like the last shot is like the back of Cybok's head.
Okay.
Like looking out of a jail. Like,
but it's not the guy who plays it in the movie. What's his name? George Duckbill? Duckinggood?
Duckington? Duckbill? Duckman?
George Duckman? No, what's his real name? His name is J.G.
Wentworth?
No. He's got a fun name. Oh gosh. Lawrence Luckinbill.
Oh, okay.
Lawrence Luckinbill as Cybok, Spock's long lost half brother.
Yeah. Spock's family has a real habit of not letting him in on his siblings.
Right, because doesn't he have like a sister now?
Yeah, and from Discovery. Not really, although that's more understandable because she was like an adopted sister.
Okay.
It makes more sense in Discovery. But
all right. So my notes for this movie are more observations than like actual critical readings. It starts off like
they're on a camping trip.
Yeah, and the way I thought about it was, it's William Shatner taking a victory lap for something he didn't do, right? Because you just had 4 that was good, right? Yeah. And so now it's like, okay, we had 4. We kind of finished up that little trilogy, and here we are. Come on, it's more Star Trek for you folks. But it's like,
now we get to have fun.
Yeah, and it's like, but you didn't earn this victory lap, and in fact, you're the one who's gonna like cool off the streak. It begins with they're in Yellowstone, and Kirk is climbing a mountain. And of course, it's like we see the
3 movies ago we dealt with this man's mortality,
right?
And now he's climbing mountains,
right? And obviously, like, look, you're not going to have the star of your movie climbing a mountain, especially if he's an older man,
right?
But you can shoot him from afar. Like, they go so out of their way to hide his face that you can't help but laugh at
right.
Because, like, first of all, he's
With
too
the
thin.
wig
He's way too thin. Right?
Yeah.
So you're like, because he's like skinny, and then when they do close up, it's like, it's chubby William Shatner.
Yeah.
He's got the wig on, but like, he's like climbing the mountain, but like, he's silhouetted, like the sun's behind him.
Right.
So it's like, it's going so... He's like the neighbor from Home Improvement. He's going so far out of the way to not show his face.
Right.
So that's hilarious. You've got, I gotta say, Bones. As much as I like Bones, he annoys me in this movie.
He's a little annoying in this movie. Was cantankerous.
Not even cantankerous. He's his most, naggy. He's like a naggy, like he's upset at Kirk for climbing the mountain.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, how dare you play with life, blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, well, it's not certain death that you climb a mountain.
Yeah.
It's not like he like tried to kill himself.
You guys have done much dangerous shit.
Right. And just like
though, to be
him
fair,
and Kirk are like an old married
to
couple.
cut you off for a second. To be fair, Kirk eventually dies under a fucking pile of rocks.
Yes.
So Bones was right. # justice for Bones.
Bones and Kirk in this movie feel like an old married couple.
Yeah.
And, there's always been a tension between Bones and Spock. But in this movie, they've been through so much together. And in this movie, they're back again at it. And I was like, are you two gonna fuck already? Like, when is Bones just gonna, like, just be like, you know what, Spock?
Hey,
let's just
plant
stop.
one on him.
Let's stop fucking around and get down to business.
Yeah.
I want you. You want me.
We have Vulcan dick.
Yeah, like, let's go make aggressive love to one another.
Yeah, let's go Ponfar.
Yeah. Near. How about that?
Pardon my French.
So, ILM did the effects for
the last one.
Was it? It was.
I think they did a
couple.
couple. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they did one, but they certainly didn't do this because they were busy doing Ghostbusters 2 and Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
The third Indiana Jones, I think. Which is also why Sean Connery couldn't do it.
Yeah.
By the way, hot take, I think if Sean Connery had played Cybok, it would have made the movie a grade better. Same movie with him as I think it would have brought everything up a little bit.
Probably.
I have other problems with Cybok. And I'm not saying the guy who plays him is bad, but just if you had a big star as Spock's long lost brother, I think it would work. Like they went from asking
Sean Connery to Duckworth, whatever.
Right, like Duck Detective. It's weird that they didn't go for another star.
Yeah.
So the effects in this movie are bad. Really bad.
They're a definite downgrade.
Really bad, like
whoever did them, like it's like you did your best, but
well, they were rushed and they kind of ran out of money and they couldn't get more money. Like China was like, please give us more money, and they were like, no. To the point where the end kind of doesn't make sense. There's weird edits at the end to try to make it work what they had.
Right.
But they're clearly missing a whole segment of Kirk on that planet being attacked by that god thing.
Yeah. That whole ending was supposed to be way different.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like it in a cheesy way, but it is a weird. It's just weird.
One of so Kirk's. We're not going to go through the whole movie, but Kirk's climbing a mountain, and Spock comes and fucks with him.
Yeah, comes and fucks with him.
Makes a stupid joke about gravity, and Kirk falls, and Spock goes to catch him. That's the first sign that our effects are not going to be good because it's bad wire work.
Bad. Yeah,
bad flat,
bad composite shotting.
Screen. It's just ooh, this is what we're working with, and a lot of the ship stuff is recycled from older movies.
Yep.
Which is we're in Godzilla territory now, baby. We're recycling shit from older movies.
There's a few shots that if you didn't see the earlier movies, you'd be like, oh, this is where all the money went.
Right.
Except they didn't spend any money because they already had the footage.
Right. This is the movie, by the way, where they have a romantic connection between Scotty and Uhura. Feelings on this.
Mm-hmm. I'm fine with it. I'm 100% on board with it.
I like it too. I'm a fan of it. I tell you what I didn't like. I didn't like in the JJ movies the horror Spock.
Yeah, that kind of came out of nowhere.
And it kind of added up to nothing as well.
It added up to nothing. I like what Strange New Worlds is doing.
With him and Nurse Chapel. I do, but spoiler alert for Strange New Worlds Season 2. I feel like the lead up was good, but then once they finally got together, they didn't know what to do except just break them up immediately. Because she's so about getting together, and then she gets that internship, so she's going to leave. And then she's like, it's just weird. I feel like all of the lead up was good. Like the episode where Spock turns human and she's helping him, like, is all good. And I like Kate Bush, I think is the actress who plays Nurse Chapel. And it's also an interesting, like, justice for Chapel, because in the original canon, she just pines for Spock, and he just does not reciprocate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like, Uhura and Sky together. It's like your grandparents, you know what I mean? Like, they look cute together. You know, one's a big round guy, one's a attractive older lady that eating food out of bags. He's trying to fix the Enterprise. There's a lot of shitty slapsticky comedy out of the Enterprise not working.
Yeah.
It's like the Enterprise was put together by Rand Peltzer from Gremlins. How about that for a reference?
Wow.
The dad from Gremlins. Like, 'cause it's all like wacky things aren't working. And it's like, I would be terrified to be on a spaceship where things
like,
were this bad.
not working.
Like the elevators aren't working.
Yeah.
It begins with a cold open. You've got Lawrence Luckinbill coming out to on this weird planet, which, by the way, I wanted them to develop this more. A lot of it takes place on this planet, Nimbus 3, which is in the neutral zone, but it's a planet like founded together by Romulans, Klingons, and Federation to be like a point of like, we can start together or whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't really get in, but it's also like shitty. And like they call it Paradise City, but it's obviously like it's nothing. Like it's just a desert. So it's like, why is it like to me, there's so many interesting ideas in that concept that is nothing's done with.
No, because they kind of gloss over it by using like the cult aspect where it's like, oh, they're just there because they're following, Cybok.
Yeah. And we meet on that planet 3 characters. This beautiful Romulan woman, this Federation guy played by David Werner from Ninja Turtles 2 and Titanic and Scream 2 and an old man Klingon. So you got to get the feeling like these 3 are like outcasts. Like this is like the worst post you can have in your job. Like you're the representative there, so they're like drinking and playing cards and stuff. But like the Romulan woman shows up and they're kind of all talking, and like I'm like, okay, this is an interesting idea. But then immediately they get kidnapped by Cybok, and off screen he
does his mind thing.
Right. He
hears their sadness or whatever.
Yeah, basically, well, he's a Klingon obviously because he's Spock's half brother. He mind melds with you, which is something Klingons can do.
Vulcans.
Oh, sorry, Vulcans. He mind melds with you, which is something Vulcans can do. But he kind of like, he's like, let me get into your pain and expose your pain. Apparently, he was based on televangelists at the time.
Right, Jerry Falwell.
Yeah, which is, again, I think
it's a great idea.
Which I don't think they explore enough. I think at the end, he turns face too quickly. I feel like he should have been a con man. Like, at one point, Kirk calls him a con man, but he's not because he really believes the bullshit that he's doing.
Right. He's as shocked as everyone else at the end.
Right. Like, I feel like he should have been... Because then what you're left with is no villain.
Right.
And I think he should have been more villain. He should have... Instead of, like, constantly trying to get Spock on his side, he should have, like, been anti-Spock. Like, he should have been trying to kill Spock or something like that. He should have had a chip on his shoulder about Spock.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's been a criminal his whole life. Like, I just feel like he's miswritten.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of missed opportunity in this movie. And again, very short movie because it's like there's the beginning where they're just like hanging out at the park, and then there's the stuff on Nimbus 3.
Yeah.
And then very quickly it's like they basically find and meet up with Cybok.
Yeah.
Everything's revealed about, oh, he's Spock's half-brother, and here's the deal. And then there's the scene where he does the mind meld to McCoy.
Right. That scene, what do you feel about that long scene?
I think it goes on a little too long, but I know people say it's like a good scene in a bad movie. Like, they really like that scene.
I feel like if you're interested, I think it's a bad scene because I feel like in the movie that's already meandering, it slows things down to even a greater halt. But being interested in the character of Bones, it's interesting to see this backstory about his father, and he euthanized his father because his father was suffering, and his father said, "Please let me go." And then like they came up with a cure for whatever his father had like a week later.
Yeah.
So he's got all this guilt and pain about it. But the scene is so long and like weirdly like it's on the ship, and it's Cybok as through machinations Cybok gets the ship to come to them and then takes it over. So it's Cybok is taking over the ship, and he's brainwashed a lot of the crew like Uhura and Sulu. Yeah. But and there's this scene which is actually in a cool setting. It's that setting that it's like an observation deck that looks like an old ship. I actually like that setting because it's got like the old wooden like wheel, like the pirate wheel. But he does his shtick of like, let me see your pain and let me help you, deal with face your pain and be free. But somehow everyone can see it. Like, yeah, it's not a holodeck, yet it feels like a holodeck because, behind Bones, like there's a spotlight and there's his dad in a bed.
Right. It's very theatrical.
Yeah. But like Kirk and Spock are watching, and it's like, how did Cybok do that? Yeah. And does he know that he's basically just using mind meld to brainwash people, or does he really think he's doing something good for them?
I guess he really thinks he's doing something good based on the end of the movie.
Then I would argue that's stupid. That's a wrong choice. And
But then, like, okay, so then they go, like, from there, Bones is, like, kind of on board with Cybok after that.
Right.
And then they eventually, like, Cybok, they take over the ship, and they go to, what was it, like, the center of the universe? Or
right,
whatever?
the center of the universe, which we can't get to because it's beyond the Great Barrier.
Yeah.
But it's the center, whatever. And so nobody can go into it, but he's like, oh, there's so much missing. He doesn't totally say how he knows this. He like got a message, I guess, from
right. I guess him being the cult leader, it's supposed to be implied that he's like the Silver Surfer to Galactus. Okay, like he's the arbiter for this god, so he can get through the barrier, but he needs a starship to do it.
Right.
So they go in, and then Uhura does a fucking fan dance. And
yeah, there's a scene where they need to sneak into, and they're on Nimbus 3, and there's no beaming in this movie because the
effects would have been too much.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what the practical reason is, but in the movie it's because the ships can't beam. So there's a lot of that thing that sucks about Star Wars where there's a lot of landing and taking off from planets. Yeah. So they have to like go and they think that they're coming to save these hostages, which they don't realize that the hostages have been brainwashed by Cybok. Right. So it's Kirk, Spock, and Federation Marines, which is I think the first time we see them. And there are horses because William Shatner loves horses and races horses. Not races horses, like rides horses in his real life. So, of course, there's horses in it because he directed the movie. And, of course, there's horses in his scene in Generations. He loves horses. He's a horse girl. And they're like, okay, we'll steal these horses, but we gotta, we need
a diversion.
Yeah, we need somebody to.
And Hora's like, well, I could do a fan dance.
Yeah, and
which apparently she wanted to do because she legitimately knows how to fan dance. But even still, I don't.
It's hard because I would never say she's only in her late 50s. Like I would never say a woman of her age can't do that, or a woman of her age can't be beautiful. But there's just something. The way the movie plays it is they play it so sexual that it's undignified in a way where I feel bad for everyone involved. Like Because also the guys, the extras or whoever the fuck who are playing the guys that are like, she's like the siren calling them, they were like, oh, a woman. They're like immediately so horny and like rushing towards her. They're like cartoon wolves where like their eyes pop out and their jaw drops out. Yeah, the tongue unravels. Like it's so over the top. And they keep like, they don't show her full body because she's like kind of in silhouette.
In the moonlight,
so they keep showing her legs in a very like close up, and it's just like it's undignified. Like there's just something about it's
weird.
It's weird. It's weird. But that's the thing. The tone is weird in this movie. Like there's a lot of weird humor.
Yeah, but like after that, then we get to basically the end.
Yeah,
where they do meet a god. And
do they? What is this guy?
I don't know who this fucking guy. This guy's the real con man.
Right, but that's the thing. Is he one of the classic Star Trek I'm not a real god, but I pretend to be a god things?
I think so.
Or is he God? Like maybe God's
Kirk
just a villain.
But then Kirk asked the main question, what would God need with a starship?
Right.
Because the god figure is like, oh, now that I have the starship, I can spread my word across the galaxy.
Right.
And then Bones is like, don't ask him that. Like, come on.
You can't ask the Lord Almighty for his ID.
Yeah.
I also have a problem with the movie does not have the guts to have an atheist character. Like, people question...
Which you think would be Spock.
Right. And, like, people in the movie question, is this the real God? Is this the fake God? Is there a real God?
But it
like,
doesn't go beyond that.
Yeah, nobody goes, there isn't a God. This guy can't be God because, of course, there isn't a God. No one ever projects that out there. Like, it's like, yes, there is a God.
Right.
And our argument is whether or not this guy is him.
Right. Well, I think in the world of Star Trek, I think the closest they come is in certain galaxies. There's planets that were created by other beings. And I guess like you would refer to those people as gods.
Right.
But like, yeah, they don't answer they never answer the question of like, who's the guy?
And when they first meet him on the, they go through the Great Barrier and they make it through. And when they first meet him, first of all, the planet sucks. Like, they play it like, wow, we're in heaven. But it looks like any Star Trek planet.
It looks like the moon.
It's like a desert. It's 90% of Star Trek planets.
Yeah.
But again, they didn't have the money to match the script. So they're all like, oh, wow. Like they're in the Garden of Eden, but it's a barren desert. We spent most of the movie in a desert. But when they meet God, he's like, I have many faces. And you see like statues from different cultures. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then he's like, is this a face that you would like more? And it's more of like a Christian white man with a beard.
Yeah.
But then he starts his sneaky bullshit. And it's like, how did he get the message to Sybok? And like, it all happens too fast. Sybok very quickly is like, this is my fault. This is my arrogance. Luke, save yourselves. Go with me. Like, it also, this con man reveals his hand too quickly. Like, Kirk questions him once. And he loses his shit and then shoots a laser at Kirk. And he's like, why is God angry? And then immediately everyone's like, God would not attack a person. Yeah. You're clearly not God by this one thing you just did. Like, you could have played that any other way. Yeah. Like, I need a starship because of this. Like, I feel like if it were an episode of the original series, they would have met him earlier and there would have been more conversations between them and God. Right. Like, it's so quick.
Right.
In a couple of ways, it seems parallel to the first movie.
I always think that too with V'ger.
Right, but I like that conceit better.
Right, because that conceit is more like, well, was it a god?
It's a creature, like we're the god. Like it's a...
Right, we're the god. Right, we're the god
seeking
because
its god.
Created the thing that gave it life.
Right. In this, this
is a fake god.
Yeah.
Maybe, but not really.
Right. So somehow it connected to Sybok through the Great Rift. And anyway, and so Sybok is like, okay, I'll handle. All right, I'm a good guy now. I'll handle this. You guys, Bones, Kirk, and Spock, go get on the shuttle and get out of here. I'll save you.
Yeah.
And he starts to do his shtick with the pain, and he dives into the god. Oh, and at one point, God takes Sybok's visage.
Yeah.
So it's classic guy fighting with a double of himself.
It freaks Sybok out. He's like, what?
Yeah.
How am I God?
Yeah, and he's like Gozer a little bit. He's like, you're all gonna die. It's like, oh, that's a quick turn. Like, you spent a millennia waiting for someone to come. You think you'd have a better...
Right. You spent all this
time... A better
time,
pitch than this.
You spent all this time, and now all of a sudden, at the first sign of trouble, you're going to shoot a laser at these people, and you're going to fucking, like...
Threaten to murder them all.
Threaten to murder all of them, and then, like, ruin the life of the one man who, like, believed in you.
Right. Like, you get one slightly probing question... And your whole fucking thing cracks like an eggshell. The whole scheme is up. The
house of cards is just completely
immediately up. And this is where there's problems because Kirk, the three, Kirk, Spock, and Bones get to the shuttle, and Scotty's like, I've got the transporter working, but I can only take 2. So Kirk is like, all right, beam up Scotty. He tells Scotty, beam up Bones and Spock. So then it's just Kirk alone. Now, what was in the script was Kirk is being chased by this being that's like creating obstacles for him and trying to kill him.
But that's too much.
Like rock monsters are coming out of the ground and attacking him.
Yeah, they made a rock monster.
Yeah, and they said it looked like shit.
Yeah.
So what is it in the actual movie? In the end of the movie, when you watch it now, he's alone in the shuttle and he's like scared. And then there's like a white light in the shuttle, and he like runs out of the shuttle, and like a laser shoots after him, and it's like, what was that? Like, and then immediately he's we haven't talked about the Klingon yet. We'll get into that whole bullshit, but he's the good guys steal a Klingon ship and save him, and he's saved by what he thinks are the Klingons. So they should have just cut it. They should have just had him. They should have not tried to have him in peril alone if they couldn't do it. They should have just went, well, you know what, all 3 of you get out of there.
I'll tell you what they shouldn't have done was anything with the Klingons in this movie.
Yeah,
because you mentioned them before, and then you just mentioned them again now, and I just watched this movie like 5 days ago, and every single time I fucking forget that the Klingons were in this movie.
Because it feels like a tacked on subplot.
It's like we need Klingons in this movie.
It's like the Klingon is watching the movie with us.
Yeah, like the only reason the Klingon is there is so that they can have the Klingon ship at the end,
and they could do that shitty action sequence where they're in the shuttle and they're like, "Well, we can't use the beam to hold us in because if we divert power from the shields, the Klingon ship will attack us." So it doesn't add up to much. It adds up to a shitty shuttle, like kind of crashing into, like it doesn't look good. It's pointless. Like, we see this Klingon in the beginning, and he's like a bored Klingon. He's like shooting at garbage, and he's like, I want a real challenge. And they're like, oh well, there's a Federation ship nearby, and he's like,
okay, let's go do that for this movie.
Yeah, he's like, I'll go. He really just wants a challenge. He has no skin in the game at all. And then at some point he learns that it's Kirk, and I guess it's established that all Klingons hate Kirk and Kirk hates them.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, it's Kirk. I could be the one who defeats Kirk. But again, it's never personal. It's never, and he's almost like an afterthought to the characters. Like the characters are dealing with the cyborg shit, and then someone would be like, oh, by the way, that Klingon ship is still out there, and like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Right.
Everybody forgot about that. He's like not in the movie. He's in his own like commentary of the movie.
Yeah. He's doing a riff tracks of this movie.
Right. And then the way it resolves is stupid and makes no sense.
Right.
It resolves by that old washed up Klingon who was on Nimbus 3. Spock is like, you're his superior officer. Tell him to stand down and give us the ship. But we learn early on that guy's washed up and I think lost his honor. Like people don't like him anymore. So
why would they respect him?
Right. And in their culture, why would they respect somebody who's working with the Federation like that and is clearly a loser? And also like, does he outrank him? Like, does rank matter? It seems like every Klingon captain kind of does whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
It's a silly. Again, it's like, oh, why is this guy in this movie? Oh, just so that end thing can happen. So he can make the Klingon. And then, like, I don't know if they think this is funny or what. Like, Kirk is beamed onto the Klingon ship, and the old Klingon's like, do you have something you want to say to Captain Kirk? And he's like, the Klingon who's like been an antagonist the whole movie, he's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to die. My government didn't allow me to do this. And it's like, this is the end of this villain. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Like a dad being like, okay, now go tell the like he broke the neighbor's window. Like, no, go say you're sorry to Mr. Johnson. Like, that's the ending. And then they try to make a meal out of the moment where the captain's chair in the Klingon ship turns around and Spock's in it.
Yeah.
But it's like, of course Spock's in it because, like, the good guys are here. Like, we know the good guys are here. You just beamed us up. Like, why is this a big deal? We know it's Spock. I do like, there's two lines that I like in this movie that I think are actually funny. When Kirk sees Spock and goes to hug him and he says, Captain, please, not in front of the Klingons. Yeah. I think that's genuinely a funny line. And the other line that I genuinely find funny is when Cybok's taken over the ship, so they're thrown in the brig. And it's the three of them in the brig. And he's mad because he told Spock to fire on Cybok and kill him. And Spock is like, I can't kill him. He's my brother. But he says like, I can knock you out. And then Bones goes, do you want me to hold him, Jim? That was a pretty funny line. But, you know, there's a scene. This really happens. And it's in the trailer where Bones is not Bones. I'm sorry. I'm so tired right now. I keep like screwing up every name. Yeah. I've never seen this movie. I'll be honest with you. No, there's a horrible scene where Scotty's like, I know this ship like the back of my hand. And then he walks Zucker Brothers style into a beam, hits his head and falls down. That's in the trailer. Yeah. They thought this is so fucking good. And by the way, you can cut it so easily. It's nothing. It's the end of a scene. It's for nothing. Yeah, he could have just been like, I know this ship like the back of my hand, end scene. Yeah, it's right. Without the head trauma. Like, because it doesn't add up to anything. It's just a silly gag. Well, you just described the whole movie. Yeah, just a lot of silly gags. It doesn't add up to anything. It's just a silly gag. So, yeah, let's talk about how we can make this work, because I think you could make it work. Yeah, I think you got to jettison all the Klingon shit. Yeah, none of that shit is necessary, even a little bit. And then really just focus in on, like, the cult stuff a little more and, like, the people on Nimbus 3. Because you could add a whole thing, like you said, about, like, these three races coming together. Yeah. And, like, okay, they're doing it for the wrong reason, but, like, maybe it's a good thing. Like, yeah. Like, is it a good thing that they're coming together? Like, should we burst their bubble? Because they're working together, but they're doing it for the wrong reason. Right. Like, there's a lot you could have done with that, and they just didn't do any of it. Right. I mean, the fact that you have this interesting idea of these three cultures coming together to create this this world, but why pick a desert where nothing grows? Like, was that on purpose? Or they probably didn't have the money. Right, I guess. Because I was like, why couldn't you tie this into the Genesis from the last movies? Like, maybe they were going to terraform it, but then they couldn't. So now it's just like a wasteland. Because it's like they call the city in the middle of it looks like Mos Eisley from Star Wars. Mm-hmm. They call the city in the middle of the planet Paradise, and then someone like graffitied like Lost, like Paradise Lost. And it's like, okay, this is just the idea. Like, why is it this shitty? Did they not know it was going to be this shitty? Did they plan on it being this shitty? And it's just like a diplomatic thing. There's a joke. It's a visual gag. There's like a cantina in it. It's very Star Wars. And there's like cat people and stuff. Actually, there's a cat woman who they keep using the scream from the beginning of James Brown's I Feel Good. Okay. Like, wow. Like listen, watch it again. They're using that clip as her voice. But there's a pool table, right? Where it's a pool. It's a table, but it's a pool. There's water and the you get it? It's a pool table. You get it? And Kirk throws the cat lady into it. You know who's good? The cat lady on Lower Decks, the doctor who's a cat. That's funny shit. Yeah, Nimbus 3. I'd also like the cult. Like, the cold open is this one guy alone in a desert and Cybok coming up to him and being like, let me help you. And he like helps him. He takes away his pain. And then he reveals himself to be a Vulcan. And the guy's like, you're a Vulcan. How can I repay you? And he's like, come with me. And then the next time we see him, he's got like 100 followers. Right. Like, where were they? Were they somewhere else? Or did he get them in the meantime? And couldn't we have done a little bit more of him getting people? Right. Like, couldn't that be like a thing we return to throughout the movie? Right. Like these different scenes of him convincing
really influential people to join his cult.
Right, because it's also not clear if he's really winning people over or he's actually brainwashing them and they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's also true with our main characters. Like, when Bones kind of comes on his side, it's like...
Right, we just don't know.
Right. That's the thing. I think the Cybok... Yes, you're right. Get rid of all the Klingon shit. And I think you could explore Nimbus 3 a lot more. But I think the Cybok stuff is the stuff that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
I think, no offense to the actor, I think a big star would have been a draw. Like, a movie star would have been good in that. I think if it had been Connery, that actually would have been awesome. Sean Connery in that role, I think, would be good. But somebody, some star.
Yeah.
And I think I think this movie's lacking a villain. I think Cybok needs to be more of a villain. Maybe in the beginning we believe his bullshit, but at some point it should turn and we should be like, he really is a con man.
Right, like he's gonna have his followers sacrifice themselves.
And he's just gonna steal the ship and go off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, exactly. Like, he's not, like, they're gonna sacrifice, like, he's not gonna be, yeah.
Yeah, less Jerry Falwell, more like Jim Jones.
Yes. By the way, we didn't say this movie does not have its own original score. It uses the Jerry Goldsmith score from the original movie and from Next Gen, which is weird because up to this point, every movie had its own score, and then this one repeats it, which, again, and it's also weird because Next Gen is already out, so it's already associated at that point with Next Gen. Yeah. It just feels like another cheap choice.
Yeah, like we're cutting corners. They really cut a lot of corners with this movie.
Yeah. They really did. But I don't know. I have not seen anything else Shatner's ever directed. But Leonard Nimoy, I think, is a much better director. I mean...
3 Men and a Baby? Come on.
And I know he worked on the story, so you kind of have to blame him for that as well. Not Nimoy, Shatner.
Right.
And apparently, not that he was that involved, but apparently Gene Roddenberry didn't like this film. I mean, he kind of had a problem with every film. I
was going to say, like, he kind of didn't like any of them.
I was kind of mad because he had wanted to do this. I think the very first movie, he wanted, like, they meet God. And the studio was like, no. And then it turned into the V'ger thing. Yeah. And he was like, I'm mad that Shatner was kind of doing the idea that he had always wanted to do. William Shatner's daughter is in the movie. She plays his yeoman. She does not speak at all.
It's for the best.
He's wearing a t-shirt that says, "Go climb a rock." Huh?
And that he does.
We've yet to talk about Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Because I think you would never see this in a movie now. You would never see like a tentpole, not that this was a tentpole movie necessarily because they put so little money into it, but you would never see like an action movie with like a scene where 3 men in their 60s sit around singing Row, Row, Row Your Boat.
Well, you do here.
You certainly do. And it goes nowhere except Spock is like, but life is not a dream. And then, like, that gets referenced again later on.
It's weird.
And then,
weird callbacks in this movie. Weird everything.
Yeah, yeah. And then at the end, Shatner, Kirk goes up to Spock. Like, when it's all over, they're drinking with Klingons, which is fun. Whenever you drink with Klingons, it's a good time. And he goes up to Spock. Spock is like, I was just thinking of my brother. And he's like, I understand. I too once lost a brother, but I was able to get him back. Referring to him dying in Star Trek 2. But silly me, I thought he was referring to his actual brother. Right? Because his actual brother died. Now,
right. Now if you're just a casual fan, you wouldn't have known that.
Right. And also he's become a bigger character because he's like a recurring character on Strange New Worlds, his brother,
right?
Sam Kirk.
But at the time, you would have needed to see one episode,
right,
of the original series,
right? But it's just weird. Like I was thinking, like, oh, he's going to talk about it because his brother dies in the show.
Yeah.
So I thought it was be like, oh yeah, his brother died in an episode. It was like, oh no, he's not talking about his brother. He's talking about Spock. And then like, and all of these movies do this. There's like some meditation on age and the life you've lived.
It's like we did this 3 movies ago.
Well, that's the weird thing about this whole movie series is that it's always beginning and ending. Every movie is an ending, but also a beginning, and it just keeps going. You know, like in the beginning, like they're all on shore leave together, so they're camping out together in Yosemite. Not Yosemite.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. Oh, is it Yosemite? And I had got it wrong before.
Whatever, they're at a park.
They're at a park. And Bones is like, look at us. Like, we work together, and then once we get shore leave, we spend it together. Other people have families. And Kirk is like, other people, Bones, not us. And it's like, are you three gonna fuck right now? Like, when is this turn into Brokeback? I tell you, the fanfic authors must have loved this movie.
I was gonna say, like,
the sexual tension is palpable.
Oof.
Palpable.
And a main villain whose name rhymes with cock.
You bet. And you know what? Spock doesn't have a lot to do in this. Which is like, I know
Probably
he had a
by
lot
design.
to do in the yeah, that's true. When you have fucking Shatner
Shatner.
involved. Shatner's probably like, fuck this guy. Although George Takei said even though he never had a good relationship with Shatner, he was good to work with as a director. He was nice to him as a director.
Hey.
So that's something. Gosh, I mean, the episode's kind of running short, but there's just not a lot to say about this movie.
Don't see it.
Yeah.
You could skip it. You could go right from 4 to 6.
Yeah, because the next one's good.
Next one's real good.
It is. I mean, I like 1, so that's where I...
But, like, this is the contrast. Like, 5, it's like a plot that doesn't need to happen, that goes nowhere, with Klingons that are completely inessential. And then the very next movie, it's like analogy for the Cold War.
You're right.
The
A
Klingons
great
are
Klingon
front and
story.
center.
Yeah,
like a great Klingon story.
like actually doing something with the Kirk hates like Kirk is
Kirk hates
racist against Klingons thing. They killed my boy. By the way, side note, how do you feel about that in Strange New Worlds? Bringing up name dropping Carol Marcus and his prodigy in Strange New Worlds.
We'll see where it goes. They brought in Scotty too. Like,
Yeah, they did.
I feel like the final scene of this series is going to be all the original series people together.
But I love the new people.
Yeah.
I love the new people. How do you feel about the guy who plays Kirk in Strange New Worlds?
I'm fine with him. Someone pointed out online that he looks like a young Kirk. He looks like a young William Shatner.
I don't think he does that much. But I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I'm glad they're like just kind of doing their own thing.
Well, I'm glad that
I'm
he's
glad
just
they didn't
playing
Brandon Ralph it.
Right, exactly. He's not doing an impression of Shatner at all, and he's not. He's sort of playing his own way. His name is Paul Wesley, who plays Kirk in this show. He was also in Vampire Diaries. Yeah, I think they did the smart move to be because like Chris Pine, right, from the movies, he's not doing a Shatner impression, but he's sort of trying to capture the
masculine bravado.
Yeah, like he's trying to capture a certain part of Kirk, whereas this guy is sort of doing something different entirely.
Yeah,
which I think is the best route to take if you're going to play Kirk.
Oh yeah, because like it's exactly what I said would happen happened, which is the first time they saw him in the episode last season, people were like, I don't know. But then, like, once you see him a couple times this season, it's like, I'm down with this guy.
Right,
like,
right.
It's jarring at first to some people, but then it's like, you realize, no, this was the smarter move.
Yeah, yeah. The thing that people always say about the series is that the odd films are bad and the even films are good. Mm-hmm. I argue that because I think 1 is good. But it is a weird series that way where, like, you've got good ones that are like, wow, this is great. Yeah. Like, even from, like, 2 to 3. Like, 2 is so good. And then 3 is, like, such a direct sequel to 2. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, Spock died, but now we're going to go save him. And then 3 sucks.
And then 4 is great.
And then 4 is great again. It's so weird. It's so weird. You know, comparing this to 1, like, this sucks because it's not well written, it's not well directed, and it's kind of a mess. Whereas 1, and I've said this a million times on PCMC, 1 is interesting in its failure, at least. Like, 1 at least is attempting to do big things.
Right.
And I always will find those kind of movies, those kind of quote-unquote bad movies, more interesting than just a schlocky bad movie.
Yeah, this was schlocky. This is schlocky bad.
Yeah, it's riding on its own coattails.
Yeah, give me V'ger over Cybok any day.
Yeah. Well, this has been PCMC. Don't watch this, or do, just to see the cat that makes the James Brown noise.
Yeah, do that.
But I would say watch Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, go watch those instead.
Yeah. Vin, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
Vin, tell the people about your other many podcasts.
Yeah, you can go to Wrestle Rap, WRASSLERAP.
Silly.
With some wrestling stuff with me and Emilio Sparks.
Was that Emilio who spelled it that way?
Yes.
Is that a thing in the wrestling world?
Not really. He made it a thing, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And then Oddball with Vin Forte. It's a sports podcast. Check that out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts from. And twitch.tv/MightyVin.
Vin, let me ask you about your sports podcast. Are you into the pickleball?
No, I don't get pickleball at all.
It's all the rage.
I see it. I don't get it. I don't get like why it's now a thing.
It's a big thing now.
I feel like they're forcing it on us though.
I was talking to my cousin Brendan recently, and I was like, "What you been doing, man?" He lives in Oregon, and he was like, "I've been playing a lot of pickleball,
course he's doing
man."
Pickleball.
Is it like a hipstery kind of thing? You think?
I think so.
It's funny, like from what he tells, I don't know where he lives in Portland, but it doesn't seem like that show. It seems more like I was like, what's it like? And he's like, there's a real bad homeless problem, and I'm like, oh well, that's not very funny. Yeah. There's not fun sketches going. No stories about dog.
Are they
clothing.
Putting the bird on the homeless?
Yeah.
People?
So this has been PCMC. We end every episode by saying,
go bye-bye.